This is the very beautiful willow. She was rescued off a barbed wire fence recently, and I guess she was, in the scheme of things, quite lucky because she is going to be able to be rehabilitated and sent back to the wild. But there were 2 littlies last week, both of whom were first flyers, about 13 weeks or thereabouts, and they weren't so lucky. And the reason they weren't so lucky was because there were separate members of the public who wanted to help them. So although their intentions were good, they destroyed their chances of going back by cutting their wing membrane. Now, it's really important to remember that wing membrane is a living thing. It's got a blood supply and a nerve supply. So you can't just go around cutting living tissue like that. And you've got to know what you're doing with this stuff. So we never ever cut living tissue or living membrane. So what we're asking is if you could do the right thing, by all means call them in, but call them in without touching them, without trying to rescue them. Let us rescue them and bring them into care. We can safely remove the barbed wire under anaesthetic if required, and we can do a minimal amount of damage because the wire itself does enough damage. We don't want to add to the damage, but it's really important. And those 2 littlies had to be humanely euthanased. They were not viable, and we can't, run bat farms. We've got to, by law, they have to be rehabilitated and sent back to the wild. And if they're not able to go back to the wild, they need to be humanely euthanased. So that was the only choice we had for these 2 littlies. And that's hard on everybody. It's hard on the person who has to do the job. It's hard on the rescuer. And let's face it, numbers are falling. We're losing them. So we need to save as many as we can. So apart from getting rid of your barbed wire and your barbed wire fencing, just think about that. If you find a flying fox, or any animal really, on a barbed wire fence, you've got some up your nose, or any animal on a barbed wire fence, and just think before you act, because it really is with flying foxes, it's no touch, no risk. We don't want members of the public, handling them. We're trained and vaccinated, we know what we're doing, so please call your local wildlife rescue organisation if this situation occurs and help save a little life like Willow here.